welcome back to another episode of Child Please Podcast. I am Regina Weathersby, co-founder and strategic lead of the Blue Rose Foundation.
And I am Erica Simpson, co-founder and visionary of the Blue Rose Foundation.
So we are excited today. We're talking about as well as May. So we're celebrating mothers of all kinds this month. We're super excited about that. So happy Mother's Day to all of the mothers out there. We're so excited that you are joined in with us today. And we have a very special guest with us today. And I guess the Erica go way back. So I'm gonna let Erica introduce who we have today.
Yes, we have my boo, Tandra Hudson. We met at Alabama State, just fresh off the boat, and we've been rocking ever since. And I reached out to her, and I wanted to honor her this Mother's Day. We often in our community, you know, motherhood goes beyond being biologically birthing someone. And I
Right.
wanted to honor Sandra. And as today, our topic is the invisible mother. And even though that's our topic, I just want to let you know, Sandra, I see you, we see you, and I appreciate everything that you do for everybody, everybody's kids. You the backbone. So I'm gonna just let Sandra take it from there.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor um to be here. I thank you for the great introduction and I love you, Erica. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
So let me ask you this. Let's jump into it, Tangent. When
Mhm.
you hear, because our topic for today is the invisible mother. When you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you, and what has that been in your life? Like,
When I hear invisible mother, the first thing that comes to mind, because I'm not a biological mother, is TT. I
mhm,
am the number one TT. I have eight nieces and nephews, and they are my worlds. I feel like I birthed them sometimes. And I'm so involved with them, and they just bring so much joy to me. So that's the first thing that I think of. But along life, I've picked up so many other children, from my friends, and all of that stuff. So I'm TT to a lot of people. So when I think about, that's the first thing that comes to mind when I think about the invisible mother is an aunt. You don't even have to be a biological aunt. You can be a friend that is, just heavily involved with, children in the community. So that's the first thing I think about.
okay, you know what? When you said that, it made me think about my sister. She has her own children, but she's an aunt to my kids. And
Mhm.
I just think about even the way that she supports me with
Mhm.
my children, being a mom, even from an emotional standpoint,
Yeah.
or if I call her and say, look, this is where I am as a mama today, I'm about to tap out, just
Mhm.
even being able to get words of wisdom from her or just insight or Regina, just go sit down somewhere, that kind of stuff. Um, those conversations my kids don't see, nobody else sees, it's invisible, but she's
Yeah.
helping me to show up as a better mother. So,
Mhm.
yeah, just in addition to the things that she does as an aunt, just being the support, to moms and helping them to be in a better space emotionally, mentally, all of that. So, yeah, that was good.
Absolutely. Just picking back off what you said, I have those same conversations with my sister and my brother because I'm the oldest. So not only am I just TT, but I'm coming from a aspect of an older sister. Both of them have children, but sometimes they still do come to me for help or support or a word, and I'm able to do that. And I'm so it excites me that even still with their own little families, that they still involve me. They feel comfortable enough to come to me, be open, and when they need that help or that, hey, like, I'm over it today, like, can you step in? I'm always there, like, or if I just hear it in their voices, like, hey, I got a lot. What you need me to do? Just tell me, don't worry about it. I got it. So all things pick up. I'm in the bus lines. Hey, can you get some food? Like whatever is needed, TT is there.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
it truly does like take a village.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
So when we talk about being a biological mother and after we have babies, like the postpartum moment that we go through, I just kind of want to honor your postpartum moment. Even though you didn't biologically birth kids, I'll never forget. And I had on a blue dress with roses when I came to your husband's funeral. And even in the passing and the sickness of your husband, Tandra, you still showed up. You still was the backbone. I remember throughout my journey of infertility, my IVF journey, the calls that we would have. So I want to acknowledge your postpartum as well, how did you navigate that? Because like I said, we talk.
Yeah.
And every time I see Sandra, you have on this face, but at the end of the day, you're still human. So that's your postpartum moment because even after the funeral and after everything settled, you were still auntie. You were
Yeah.
still showing up. You were still going to pick this one up. And I just want to honor that. But I want you to tell me what does that look like? Because postpartum from a biological standpoint, it's a lot of emotions involved. It's a lot of physical stuff involved. But I want you to tell me what your postpartum looks like.
Um, my postpartum with losing my husband. It was like an emotional roller coaster. You have days where you're just going through the motions. You feel feeling numb. You're trying to figure things out, like because it never was in the cards. My husband died young. We were married almost 5 years, so he died young, and so nobody that I had encountered at that time ever was a widow, let alone a young widow, right? So I had to figure a lot of things out, but I can't say I had so much support, and I still do to this day. So I learned to lean into my support system. And then not having children and he being so involved with my nieces and nephews as well, I had to answer questions and I had to help them through their feelings of losing him. So it felt like I had to help them to adjust just the way I did. They would say, I saw Uncle Rod in a dream, or, I miss him, or I miss, the games we played and all this kind of stuff. So the same way I had to navigate in learning this new normal, I had to help them adjust to the new normal as well. So yeah, it's been a journey for us all.
Regina?
So, was it your plan at some point? Like what was your plan for family? What did
Um,
that look like?
if I'm being very honest.
Because I remember us having this conversation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
if I'm being very transparent, honest, I have never had that yearning to be a mother. Like you know how some people, I really want to have a baby. I really want to have a child. I've never had that yearning, right? Um I was always, if that's what God has for me, I'm okay with that, with having children or not having children. But even the possibility was shattered when he became ill. So I kind of felt like my choice in that was taken away because it was impossible for us to have children at that time. So, um, even though I never, like I said, I never yearned to have children, with my choice being taken away, I had to grieve that as well. That, it can't happen, it won't happen. And then it got even harder after he passed away, because now my husband is gone. The possibility is super gone. So yeah, it's not it's hard to explain, because everybody thinks that, oh, as a woman you just want to have a house full of babies, you want to have this perfect little family. And when I even say that, people are taken aback, like, you don't want children. I said, I didn't say that. I said I just didn't have that yearning to have children. So um it's been different, it's been very different. And then now that I'm older, um I'm kind of in a space where I don't know if I even want to entertain the thought at all. But at the end of the day, it's still whatever God has. I'm okay with that. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Okay. It's interesting. I think that is an experience that some people have just in different ways, just
Hmm.
grieving, not not having the opportunity or not being able to, even if they didn't want to. So you have that show up in different ways. Yours was one scenario, but then you have that people who may have wanted kids and then infertility prevents them from being able to have their own, biological children or whatever. Or then you have people who decide, hey, I want to have a child, but I want to be married before I have a child. And then the relationship isn't happening and time is ticking away. And then there's, feeling of loss there because those are things that you can't necessarily control. And so even though it might not have been a big deal, sometimes in life, things feel like a bigger thing when it's okay. Now you telling me I can't.
Yes.
So now
Because
I
you like
want to,
options, you like choices. And when my
Yeah,
choice is gone, it's like, what?
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely get it.
Because there was
And
some
I feel
level of
like that,
control
and I
before.
feel like that's the human thing side of us too, because I feel like humans always want what they can't have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But
Absolutely.
it's something interesting now that we are on the topic of grief. And, it's something that my mom always talks about is only when someone dies, only new life can replace that life. And you have been able to witness several of your friends, including me, have babies. So, how does that feel too? That, I don't know who was the first one to maybe have a baby after Rob passed, but the new life.
It's a joy to see new life. I get so excited. It's another baby that I can have. Actually, the first person to have a baby after Rob passed was my line sister. And I tell her, I said, that's me and Rob, baby. That's our baby. So yeah, like it's a magical thing to see, especially for those who have struggled with having children, and to see that joy. Because when Marley Rose came, I was so excited. Like that was I I I thought I was having a baby. I was so excited. And so, yeah, it's seeing new life come into the world after life has gone. It's a joy for me. I can speak for me. It's been a joy. It's never been a thought of like, oh my gosh, it didn't happen for me, or or that jealousy or anything like that. I find joy in it.
Yeah. And one thing I also want to acknowledge today, you said something about, you know, you didn't have that yearning. And that's one thing about ma- maternal health. That's something I feel like people should normalize not speaking on other people's uterus, and I've said that before, but yeah, I really want us as a people to get to a point where we don't speak on other people's uterus because, like you say, you didn't have a yearning, but deep in your heart, you already saw some things taking place in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? You may have even seen some things taking place in your own health that you decided, hey, I may that may not be a safe move for me. So I feel like sometimes when people comment on motherhood
Mhm.
without knowing the facts, I think that's cruel. So
Yeah.
as we speak,
Um,
go ahead.
I have gotten over the years, even before I got married, because we were together a very long time before we got married. And so when people would ask me, "Do you have children?" I say, "No." Well, what's wrong with you? That's usually the first question, like, what's wrong with you? And I said, there's nothing wrong with me. I said, I prefer to have children, when I get married. So, oh, you don't have to be married to have a child. I said, absolutely, I said, but that's my choice. And so it goes from you don't want kids, what's wrong with you? Or you can't have like and I don't think that people really understand that it's one is an invasive question, but two, it's like you said, it can be cruel and mean, especially for those who don't have children and have struggled to have them. I'm not the one that struggled to have children, but it's like you don't know that. So why would, like you said, you're speaking on someone else's uterus. Why would you even ask those questions? If I just tell you I don't have children, just respect the answer that I don't have children.
You know, that's my soapbox, Erica. Just when it comes to that and questions from people, because you never really know. So there's a whole other section of invisible mothers too, those who have lost children,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so their mothers, children may not physically be here, but when you start asking questions, you don't really
Mm-hmm.
know what that brings up for people. Because there was a period of time in my own life, I didn't, I don't know how to answer this question. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? If I have children, okay, I'm struggling with, like which way do I go with this? Because I feel like if I
Mm-hmm.
say yes, I got to tell the whole story. And
Yeah.
if I say no, I feel like I'm denying them. You know what I'm saying? And so there's just kind of that conflict there. Um, So there is, like I said, a whole other set of people um, that is invisible because while nobody sees you parenting a child every day, you are still a mother. And so,
Absolutely.
obviously, I want to take a moment to just acknowledge that group of people today, too, because I know that
Absolutely.
during this season, that can be very hard. And I will also, as I always do whenever I get a chance to encourage people to be mindful of the conversations and the questions that you have for people when it comes to that. It may not seem like a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
it may not seem like, or people may feel like, okay, well, this person just got married or they've been in this relationship for that long, so this is the natural next question. Well, no, it's not. It's a very personal question. It's a
Mm-hmm.
personal decision that people make. If you decide to be a parent, there's a lifelong commitment,
Yeah.
and people get to choose what they want for their lives. And we have to respect people's choices.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know.
And I think too, people forget about those invisible mothers too around this time. Not that we need acknowledgement, but some people do struggle with not having their own children, but they've been here for so many other people and they kind of feel overlooked. It's not my experience, but I do know some other people that, when it comes to around this time of the year, they're like, yeah, I don't have my children, but I'm TT to everybody. And it's like, well, what's our day? When is our time? So yeah, just be mindful of those people too, around this time.
And I think another piece we have to be mindful during this time is acknowledging mothers, us, and people around us who have lost their mother.
Hmm.
Thankfully, we are not in that number yet, but being able to mother, to parent,
Hmm.
to carry carry the weight of a family while you still grieve, that's a different level of grief. I can
Hmm.
only imagine. So, today I want to thank the invisible mothers for your unseen labor. You know what I'm saying? When you think of a pregnancy or mothers, you think of somebody water breaking, going into labor. Oh,
Yeah.
and they talk about how crazy labor may be. But there are some other women out here who are truly laboring without applause. And I just want to say thank you, because you all are the backbone to the families. Because like I said, what would your sister do if it weren't for you?
I don't know. I don't know because it's five. She has five children, and it's like they got games over here. Somebody got some over here to do piano lessons. It's like, hey, I'll take one here, you take one. My parents take one. Like, it takes a village. And also I
Yeah.
want to acknowledge those women who stand in the gap, whether they are biological aunt, biological mom, just a friend of the family. A lot of women have taken in children that don't belong to them in any kind of way. And they raise them and they raise, successful children and all those things. So it's a lot of people that stand in the gap. So yeah, I think they need the acknowledgement too.
Yeah, I was just about to, say that when you said your sister's five because life's happened and that they deserve their flowers for real because imagine if today if you like Regina, for instance, you have two kids and something happened and you had to take in all all five of your sister kids, what would that look like?
Hmm.
And because before we got on, we were talking about the ripping and the running, this child schedule, that child schedule, this one got to be picked up. But just imagine something happens and it changes that dynamic.
Yeah, and
That's
that's what
a
happened.
huge sacrifice.
Yeah, and that's what happened with my sister's family. Her husband had two biological children, and he had two sisters that passed away a year apart from each other.
Oh,
And the oldest sister had two children, and the youngest sister had one. And they took in three extra children, and they eventually adopted them. You know what I'm saying? So not only are they just regular family now, but they are our children. And so that's why I say, like, she's a mother already, but she was another mother that stood in the gap too. And so that's why I say a lot of times we do things not for acknowledgement, but sometimes you need that encouragement because it does get hard, you know. It's
Absolutely.
not something that you planned for when you got married and you thought about your family. Because I can imagine that my sister never thought in her life that she had five children, you know. So to be there now, and now that two of them are adults, she's about to be a grandmother, and so, now she's grandma, she got five kids, you never just think about it that way. You just think about, like our bio family. But yeah.
Wow.
well, y'all know what? Today was all about putting the spotlight on mothers. So we want to say a big happy Mother's Day to everyone, to biological mothers, to grandmothers, to great grandmothers, to stepmothers, to
Hmm.
aunts, to cousins, to godmothers, to friends of the family, to big
Hmm.
sisters, to big cousins, to
Hmm.
foster mothers, um,
Yeah.
all of you, to mother-in-laws. We see you, we acknowledge you, we appreciate you, and today we just want to take this opportunity to give you your flowers in this season where we're celebrating mothers of all kinds. We appreciate you and we thank you for tuning in, listening to our conversation. It's been for you, and until next time.
Yes, and happy Mother's Day to you too. To have the vision for you all to start this foundation, it has been a blessing. Like I said, I'm not a mother, but I can relate to a lot of the things that you guys are doing, and I see you, and we just want to say thank you so much for doing this, especially down here in the South and in the Bible belts. We don't acknowledge, maternal health enough, especially Black maternal health. So thank you so much, and happy Mother's Day to you both.
Happy
Thank
Mother's Day.
you.
Thank you, friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye bye, y'all.